Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm very grateful that you're here, and I'm excited for this journey on YouTube. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about love, what love is and what love is not. I think we grow up having a perception of love, and in reality, that's not really love. It's just our conditioning, our toxic beliefs that make us think that it's love, but it's not. Love is such a complex feeling. It's so difficult to explain. The definition of love that I found on Google, it says it's an intense feeling of deep affection. It's quite a vague explanation, and with this explanation there can be a lot of different toxic ideas attached to it, like love is attachment, you feel possession, it's mine. Love is just being attached to someone and not seeing your life without them. But I think this idea of love is really toxic, and that's not what truly love is. And I think we grew up understanding love not for what it truly is. Currently I'm reading a book, and I've read a lot of books on love. I think my idea of love has changed tremendously over the years. Of course, when I was 17, I had a different idea of love. When I was 20, I had a different idea of love. And now I have a different idea of love. And I think that a lot of different realizations and a lot of growth has happened. Because of my first heartbreak, I realized a lot of things. I realized a lot of beliefs that I had, which were just toxic trauma responses from my childhood. And your first relationship, your first love, or hopefully it ends there, but it can go on if you don't become self-aware and realize certain things. But you bring a lot of your childhood traumas into it and a lot of beliefs into it. And because the first idea of love we get is from our childhood and from our parents, and a lot of us, we have traumas without even maybe thinking. I really thought I did not have any traumas because my childhood was an okay childhood. Kids have it a lot worse, and mine was okay. But I realized in my first relationship that there's actually a lot of traumas that came from my childhood, a lot of issues, and I didn't know how to deal with certain things. I'm grateful that I experienced a lot of pain. The love was mixed with a lot of pain, and it was just an intense feeling that you couldn't really understand. And after, I guess, the heartbreak, I really started to dig deeper and start understanding the traumas and how it has affected me and my life and my relationships. And having read a lot of great books on trauma, on attachment, on love, on just self-help and self-discovery, I understood a lot of things, and doing a lot of shadow work, working with myself, understood a lot of things, and I'm very glad that it has brought me where I am today, and I have a completely different idea of love and what it is. And I'm happy to have broken that cycle, that toxic cycle, because I become self-aware of my issues and traumas. And I'm currently reading, well, I've nearly finished reading an amazing book, which has also opened my ideas a lot on love. And that's sort of some ideas that I got for this video are from that book, and just different books that I've read, and I can link them down below, some great books that I really recommend. You can't love someone else if you don't love yourself first. That is so true, and it goes a lot deeper than just the saying to understand this exact saying. But we go into relationships and we think that we fall in love. But we fall in love because of our egos, because we need to be loved. We want to be loved. We're scared to be alone. We're afraid to face ourselves. And that's why we get ourselves in these situations, and we think that we're falling in love when in reality we're just afraid of being alone and afraid to face ourselves. But before you really can love someone, you really have to love yourself. Because how can you love someone if you don't love yourself, if you don't respect yourself, if you don't appreciate yourself, if you can't be alone with yourself? How can you love someone else healthy? How can you call it healthy love if you don't love yourself? Just think about it. You will become attached to that person. You will become dependent on that person. You will put that person above yourself. And that is not love, that is toxicity. You become so attached to them that you don't see sight of yourself. That's what happened to me. It's toxic. It's toxic. There's no happiness. It's not, you become so dependent on someone because you don't see your true self and your own value. You're afraid of being alone. I was so afraid of being alone. I didn't see my life moving forward. I didn't see being okay with being alone without having that person in my life. And it you know, this was needed to understand, having that heartbreak, having gone through so much, having reached my lowest point. I understood that I was very, very dependent on someone else, not myself. I was afraid of facing myself and being with myself and providing that love that I was giving so much to someone else, to other people, to provide it for myself. Once you love yourself, you're so content in being with yourself, in being alone, enjoying your own company, and just being happy in your own body, in your own skin. That love that you have so much, you fill your cup full of love, it overflows. And then you share your love with someone else. That's why they say there shouldn't be a reason why you love them. You don't love them for this, and that. You love them because you are love. You're full of love and you're sharing that love with someone. You're okay if they're not there anymore. You love yourself, so you're happy either way. You add that person into your life because you're happy with them. You're happy without them, but you're happy with them. They're an addition to your life. They're not someone that you should become addicted to, that you should become attached to, and you don't see yourself without them. That's not really love. That's just attachment issues, and that's just some issues from deep within yourself. I went through this, so I completely understand that feeling. It's a lot, but we need to learn how to really be okay with being by ourselves and loving ourselves fully, and just knowing how great we are, not being afraid to be alone, to be with ourselves. Stop running away from who you are as a person. Stop running away from bettering yourself and seeing yourself and those toxic traits. Stop blaming other people, because a lot of issues come because you have issues from your childhood. You have to really face yourself and see what happened in your childhood and why you are right now the way you are, because you are a certain way because of your childhood and what happened in the past. That your childhood created the personality that you have right now. So we need to really start asking ourselves questions. Why I am the way I am, why certain things happen in my life, why I attract these kinds of people in my life, what am I not ready to face, why am I afraid to be alone, and why am I afraid to face myself. Once you love yourself, you realize that love is not restrictive. It's not this attachment, it's not this bondage, but love is freedom. I guess I didn't understand that part, that love is freedom. You should feel free when you're in love. When you love someone, the other person should feel free. They should not feel like they're restricted. You should be happy for them. And love is freedom, and you come to understand it when you're detached. You're detached. Nothing in our life is forever. Once you understand that point, nothing is in our life forever. The constant in life is change. So once you understand that you love a person, but you make them feel free. You're not restricting them. They can go out, they can do whatever they want. You love them because you love. You are love. That's why you love them. You don't love them because of this and that. They're here today, you love them. Tomorrow they might be gone. And you still love them. You can still love them from a distance. It's not, I love you and you are mine. You can love them and you just want what's best for them. You love them because you are love. You don't need them to be here with you. You might not end up together. Something might change tomorrow, and you still love them. You can love them from a distance. It's not, I love you and you have to be mine. And I think that's what we have to understand. And love is freedom. You don't restrict them. You are mine, so you can't do this, you can't do that. We have to be together, we have to do this and that. That's not really love. That's restricting. It's bondage. It's just, it sounds so toxic if you think about it. Is that really love? That amazing feeling, you want what's best for them. Is that love? When you're restricting them to be their own selves, you want them to be a certain way. You have this need to be needed. We have this idea of love and we think that we're in love when it's just lust. Might be lustful after a person, but we shouldn't fear it. Lust is, I read this, it's a quote from the book, lust is dirt and love is the lotus. Love grows out of lust. You have to feel a certain attraction to that person, certain chemistry, certain feeling. Of course you need that, because without that, then there can't be deep love, deep intimacy. I think that's something we have to think of it in a different way, in a different perspective. Let me read you some quotes that I have from Osho. To love somebody means to respect. It means not to exploit. To love somebody means to give love and all that you have without any idea of getting anything in return. If there's even a slight idea, a slight motivation, it is cunningness. It is lust. Even to ask for gratitude is wrong. Love is possible only when you love for love's sake. And that's the same idea, that you love for no reason. You love because you are love and you're sharing that love. You don't love for something. You don't love them for this and for that. You love them just because you love. There's no reason for your love. Another quote, I love because my love is not dependent on the object of love. My love is dependent on my state of being. So whether the other person changes, becomes different, friend turns into a foe, it does not matter, because my love was never dependent on the other person. My love is a state of being. I simply love. And that's what I think we need to realize and learn. To first be so okay with being in our own skin, in our own body, with being alone, and to loving ourselves so much that we start loving other people for the sake of loving, not for any reason. That way we don't become attached to them, we don't become dependent on them, and we don't become toxic in our relationships, in our partnerships. We're just there because we love and we want to share that love. We don't want to exploit them and use them for something. Use them because we feel alone, because we feel the need to be needed, the need to be loved. Once we learn this, I think that's when we can truly love one another. That's the thing about the deep need to be needed. It's this is something that is ingrained in us. We all have a need to be needed, because when we feel like we're not needed, we don't feel like life is purposeful. Life has a purpose. We feel meaningless if we're not needed. It's just something from our being, and it's very hard to overcome, to not be needed, to be so okay with being alone. There's not many people that have done that. I think it's just we become attached to society wherever we go. As it says from this book, you might go and meditate alone in the forest, but you become attached to that tree that you sit under. You might go in the mountains, you meditate, you're all alone, but you wait until someone walks by, a hiker, an animal, someone, just to have this connection. So we always will be attached to this idea of society. We always want to be part of something larger, part of society. It's very hard to be completely alone and to be completely content in being alone. And this need to be needed, I read something about this need to be needed from the book that really has, I just think it really resonates to this point. Whenever a woman looks at you, you have become important, very significant. In that moment, you are unique. That's why love gives so much radiance. Love gives you so much light. This is a problem, because the same woman looking at you every day will not be of much help. That's why husbands become fed up with their wives. Wives become fed up with their husbands. Because how can you gain the same meaning from the same eyes again and again? You become accustomed to it. She's your wife, there's nothing to conquer. Hence the need to become a Byron. Hence the need to become a Don Juan and move from one woman to another. This is not a sexual need. Remember, this is nothing related to sex at all, because sex goes deeper with one woman, in deep intimacy. It is not sex, it is not love. Absolutely not. Because love wants to be with one more and more, in deeper and deeper way. Love moves in depth. This is neither love nor sex. This is something else, an ego need. That is so true. That's why I think a lot of people run from a relationship to a relationship, from one woman to another, from one man to another man, because of their ego. Because sometimes you think there's something else better for you. In every woman you meet, every woman you see, they're all essentially same. Is feminine energy and masculine energy. It's just different on the outside, slightly different. They have slightly different features, but essentially we're all on the deep core the same. And women are women and men are men. And I think that it's become so normalized to keep running to the next, especially now with dating apps. We think that there's so much variety to choose from that we can't stick to one person, because we think that there's so much out there, and maybe there's someone perfect for me. There's so many options you can pick and choose, when in reality, it's just not how it is. You have to... I think that's just a deep issue in itself, the dating apps, because it gives you the false perception that there's so much choice out there. But in that way, you don't work on yourself, you don't work on your relationships, you just let them go so easily. You move on to the next and next and next, and the issue repeats, because you don't face yourself, you don't stay alone, and you don't realize the core issue. You just continue running away from yourself. And that's the thing with feeling meaningful. We crave attention from others. We crave others to tell us that we're meaningful, to make us feel meaningful, because we cannot not feel meaningful without anybody else telling you that, but without anyone else depending on you, needing you, giving you that attention. That's the core issue, I think. And this overall message of this video and about love is that we have to learn to really love ourselves, to be okay with being alone, to feel meaningful and to feel purposeful, to have a purpose without anyone else telling you anything. We have to be so okay and so content in our own bodies, in our own being, and having so much love that it's overflowing. We're sharing with people. We're sharing our love. We're sharing our happiness because we're so content. We're so happy within ourselves, and we don't need anything in return. We don't request anything in return. That way we do not become attached. We do not become dependent, and we don't create these bondages, these ego bondages, because we need something from them. I give because I expect something. I give because I want love back. I want to feel loved. So I say I love you because I want to feel loved by you. And that's the issue. We need to love ourselves, and we need to work on ourselves and do a lot of healing before we can love someone else. And then I think you understand what love is. You understand that you can love without expecting anything in return. No matter if there's distance between you, no matter if you go separate ways, if that person becomes your enemy, you love because that's who you are. And so you just share your love. But no matter what kind of person they are, you don't get attached to them. You don't want them to be yours. You don't want to depend on them. I think that's when you realize it's truly love. You love because you are love. You don't love because of some reason. And that is my video for today. I hope you contemplate and think about love and maybe different lessons that you've learned in your relationships, and just love in general, in friendships, in intimate relationships, and whether it was truly love, or it was a need that you're trying to fulfill. Maybe it was an ego desire. And we need to become self-aware, realize what's driving our actions. What is the driving force? Because there's always a driving force, and we need to realize, what is it? Is it from deep within you, or is it from your ego, from the self-construct, from your mind? And it's not from really truly within you, from your heart. I hope that it gave you some insight and some different perspectives, some different ideas that you can think about. And I really hope that you have an amazing day, evening, or night, wherever you are. And I hope that you stick along and watch more videos from me, and we can all grow and succeed and become the best version of ourselves. And yeah, I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.